This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning, everybody. We do have a quorum. Welcome to the TAC meeting, Wednesday, November 1st. Freezing outside. Thank you for braving the weather. 9:30, call the meeting to order and then open for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make any comment? I need anybody online that wishes to make a public comment.
It does not appear anyone's online that wishes to make a public comment.
Thank you. All right. Moving right along, staff update. This is pages 6 through 8 in your packet. James?
We have our upcoming meetings here. The only one that's not at 9:30 is our BPAC meeting, which will be the same day as policy board in December, but in the afternoon. There's quite a bit today, so bear with us. Staff have been working on an update to our public engagement plan, which is previously or currently is our public participation plan. Anita's been leading that effort. And it's just some history. That plan was first developed in 2007. It's had some minor updates over the years. The last one was in 2020, but it's been in need of a formal update. Highlight a few significant updates. I think a copy was sent out with the rest of the meeting materials. One of the things we have in our current plan requires that we get TAC and policy board approval before initiating public involvement in the new plan. We've removed that requirement, and staff believe that will help us expedite some of those and not be so stuck on kind of our 2-week timeframes. We will still share that information with TAC and policy board, but I'm hoping that helps us with some of the deadlines we have to meet and help with getting amendments in for certain projects and not have to wait till the next meeting to start that process. We can start it more quickly. If you do have comments on any of it, please let us know. We'll be bringing back a final draft at the December meetings for initiation of public involvement. There's some other dates there, and then in February is when it will be ready for approval after the public comment period. The KTMPO bylaws were revised by policy board last week at their meeting. Just an update on that. Our call for projects closed on Friday. We got 107 projects submitted, 70 roadway, 37 livability. Staff are working on reviewing those, and you may be getting an email with if we see anything that looks out of place or we need clarification on. We'll be sending out emails. I know in our schedule we had, we're trying to get those ready to send out for the subjective scoring. So you'll have enough time to do that before the December 15th deadline. We were hoping to have it done by Friday, but it may be next week before we send all those out with instructions. And then lastly, we did have RFP out for a consultant to assist the objective scoring. We got one response that came in higher than we were anticipating. We're planning to try and negotiate with them to see if we can work with them to get a price that fits within our budget, and get their help. It may also require us to do a UPWP amendment. We are planning to do a UPWP amendment because we didn't have anything specifically for 2050 development for a consultant to assist with that as an oversight on our part. And so that will be coming. Plan to share that with policy board in November. And we would have put it in this meeting packet, but we didn't realize until too late. Anything to add to that, Ryan?
No, like James said, this is going to require a UPWP amendment for the scoring process with the consultants. We, unfortunately, like James said, it was an oversight on our part to include 2050 MTP development in the UPWP. We were putting everything under 2045, but as we go through this process, there's a gray area where we could potentially do it under the 2045, but I don't feel that that's the correct way to So we'll be sending this to the policy board for approval, and then we'll give an update at the next TAC meeting if they approve that. And of course, we still have to go through the federal highways for the approval and all of that. There won't be a bottom line budget change. It'll just be within our tasks. So there's nothing majorly impacted in the UPWP budget.
Thanks, Ryan. A couple more things. TxDOT announced their Transportation Alternative Call Awards last week, and there's quite a few in the KTMPO area. I think they're listed there. The total is about 10.7 million for our region. And then just a note that the Highway Safety Improvement Program call is open right now, closes December 1st. I know we've had some entities in our region be very successful with getting funding through this program in the past. There's some information about those requirements, and this is submitted. These projects are submitted through the Waco district. So if you need to get connected with them, staff can help out. And lastly, air quality for the month of October, the Temple was 58 parts per billion and Killeen was 65 parts per billion. I know that's a massive drop off. I think that spike was due to, at the end of August, beginning of September, there was one really bad weekend, possibly due to some wildfires at that time. So that's why those 2 months are high, and October's back down below. That is it for staff update. A lot of information.
Thank you, James. Any questions, comments, concerns?
So with these air quality numbers, do we think they're gonna put us in a non-payment?
I'm not entirely sure that process for like when they determine non-attainment. I do know that the EPA is revisiting review of the current standard. I don't think they're expecting any decision until 2025. It takes a while to look through that, maybe the end of 2024. And then I'm sure there's a process for designating attainment, non-attainment. I think because it was a one weekend event, there are some ways that we could request exemption of this specific window, and that would bring us back down. But we haven't had to go through that. I haven't been through that process, so I wouldn't know until we get there and they say, hey, you're looking at potential non-attainment.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few years we were close. Yeah. And then previous administration wasn't enforcing much in the way of EPA at all. So I don't know if this administration is going to have tighter rules or not. But I guess that what you said remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we will move to agenda item 4, which is an action item regarding approval of the minutes from the October 4th, 2023 meeting. Any questions, comments, revisions needed to the minutes? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. So move. Have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Agenda item 5 is a discussion and action item regarding resolution 2023-09 supporting functional classification changes. James.
So we received a request. Victor reached out to us a few weeks ago about the need for some functional classification changes with these two projects, Rogers Relief Route and Copper Grove Bypass. Since they're being worked on, they need to be upgraded to a higher functional classification, FC2 and FC3 there. And Victor let us know that FHWA prefers that these requests are made prior to construction, and since they're in the MPO area, TxDOT needs the MPO's concurrence. So we have a resolution, and there's also a letter of support. Both of those are in your packet for review, just concurring with the TxDOT's request. if you want some more information on functional classification and why it's important, there is some background in your packet. I'm happy to answer questions. And Victor's probably more of an expert than I am, so he may be able to speak on that a little bit. But we are requesting recommendation of approval for this resolution.
Victor, do you have anything to add or?
Sure, yeah, so like I was talking about, we classify all of our roadways into certain functional classifications, anywhere from one being an interstate to 6 in a minor collector. And so right now, we're looking at these 2 roadways, talk about that. Currently, it's a 2-lane highway, it's functional as a function class 3 arterial. Once we go and build the second set of lanes and convert it to a controlled access facility, then it's going to function as function class 2, which is other freeways and expressways based on what they showed you. So, Rogers Relief Route, that's a new location. It's actually, it does not have a function classification assigned to it yet. The current route that goes through Rogers is a principal arterial. That's going to remain the principal arterial. But then the relief route that goes around, we've got to establish and assign a functional classification to it, and that's going to be a principal arterial. So that's all we're asking for in this evening. It goes to current something like that.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns for Victor or James? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Second.
I heard Christina first.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Agenda item 6 is a discussion item regarding the MTP steering committee.
I do.
Oh, yeah. This was briefly discussed at the policy board meeting. I don't know that we brought it to the TAC last time, but we had discussion as the possible need for appointing a steering committee for the MTP. As we go through this document, the last time we did this, I was coming in at the very end of its adoption, so I wasn't even part of the whole process. But we recommended, staff recommended the policy board, and we had some discussion on possible appointment of a steering committee. They took action to appoint a steering committee. So if you have an interest in serving on the steering committee for the MTP, please share that with staff so I can get that information to Judge Miller and council member Long so they can make the appointments to the steering committee. I believe it's going to be 3 TAC members and 3 policy board members that'll help go through the document and provide insight to what revisions and updates may be needed. We're not looking to reinvent the entire MTP. I mean, we have a pretty solid document as it stands now, but it could, with new priorities that have come about, new funding that's been made available, new federal priorities and local, I think this is a good time to get some TAC members and policy members involved in the revision and update of the document as we move forward with that. So like I said, if you have any desire to serve on that, please let staff know, and we can share that information with the policy board chair and vice chair. This is just a discussion item, so I'm open to any questions or conversation. If there aren't any, nothing, we will move to.
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah.
The third bullet point, it says, reviewing goals and objectives, is that what we talked about last week or whenever the transportation policy board got together. And it says, as well as where improvements to the current transportation system needs to be. What does that mean? Improvements to the current transportation system. Is that project based or is that, what does that mean?
I would say that's probably looking at, it may have been copied from some other document. I think the steering committee would be looking primarily at goals and objectives like we talked about at policy board, and then maybe at the different modes and looking at higher level, not a specific project level, but how is freight moving? Because there's different chapters on the different modes. So if there's something missing, like I know electric vehicles or something, that's a big thing, and other MPOs may be adding or transit, things like that. If there's a lack in the current plan of guiding development of that, looking more from that.
They're not gonna dive into the project, I understand.
No.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I can tell you from a transit perspective, not so much project related, but initiative related. You know, we're doing this microtransit initiative, and it's really just the first step in a series of initiatives. Some other things that we're looking into, or FTA has funding for, they're big on these types of things, are along with the microtransit feeding into the connector route, we will probably pursue some mobility hubs, several of them along the corridor. Usually along with mobility hubs come parking rides, because you start getting into more of a commuter type system. We're looking at some studies for a hydrogen corridor down through there, and or hybrid electric, but primarily hydrogen is showing a lot of, catching a lot of interest and funding possibilities. So it's really objective and initiative oriented on the transit side, and these are all things that start falling into place after this microtransit. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that needs to be kind of talked about.
Questions? Discussion? All right, seeing none, we will move to agenda item 7, which is a discussion item regarding an update on the KTMPO Workgroups. We only have one work group that's still going strong, and that's the safety working group. So I'll have James provide an update on that.
I don't really have anything new. We met a couple months ago, and we're planning to meet after the policy board meeting in 2 weeks to talk through some potential methodologies for setting targets based on the data from our region. So I'll have more information at the next TAC meeting in December.
All right, questions? Further discussion on the safety working group? All right, seeing none, we'll move to agenda item 8, which is a discussion item regarding an update on the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. Many of you may have seen an email come from me probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I was trying to get information to all the members to provide to their council because the policy board got pushed back a week. If you didn't see that email come through, let me know. But it basically just read that we were, in the process of finalizing our high injury network, and we're looking for some members to possibly be safety champions. So if you have an interest in being a safety champion for the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, let me know. The last thing I really have on that is November 6th at the SICCOG offices here from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. We are having a safety summit. We'll have the folks from Killeen-Temple, MRB, and the other sub-consultant. They'll all be here for the safety summit. So if you're interested, please feel free to come by. If you know other people from your jurisdiction that would like to be involved, please share that information with them. We'll send something else back out. As of yesterday's call, I think we have 35 people that have signed up to attend the summit. We can probably fit 15 or 20 more people. But like I said, that'll be happening Monday from 9 to 12. If you have any other questions, I'm open to that. Okay, nothing else. All right, agenda item 9, my favorite. Discussion item regarding an update on the possible MPO boundary expansion. As every month for the past 6 months to a year, I've lost track. I I am still waiting on information from TxDOT. That being said, we did get a new MPO coordinator, October 1st. So I've briefed him on our request. I've also resent the request to TxDOT. If I don't hear something back by mid-month, I intend to escalate that up the chain the next level. Like I said, like I've mentioned in all the other meetings, I know they're busy. They have the UTP that they're in a constant cycle of updating. What I've asked for is, draft revisions to the UTP so we can make a good financial decision, not only for the MPO, but in good partnership with the districts to make sure we didn't have a negative impact on their funding as well in the UTP cycle. So I have asked for that. I've been sidelined, so hopefully we can see some progress by the next meeting, but I would strongly encourage all of you to not hold your breath. But I will have an update at some point, I'm sure. Any further questions or discussion on the possible boundary expansion? All right, seeing none. Agenda item 10 is a discussion item regarding TxDOT updates on project development in the KTMPO area. I guess this is going to be you, Victor?
Yes.
All right.
Good, I'll do it. So basically, these are an update for our mobility projects, the TxDOT's developing projects that came through the MPO. It does not include construction projects. I believe when Michael Yates, our area engineer, gets back from Hawaii, he's going to do an update on construction projects next month.
Yeah.
I told him he could do it remotely from his hotel room, but he was.
You want to visit at 3 a.m. or whatever?
So anyways, first project we have up here is I-14 expansion east. This is the one where we're wanting to continue I-14 where it currently ends at I-35, run concurrent with I-35 up to 363, and then cut southeast along 363 and 190 down to where the Rogers relief route fills off. As you can see, we got it broken up into 3 phases, and those are the 3 phases we would like to construct in order. However, we do have Parsons Engineering under contract right now, and they're working currently on all 3 phases. These are going to be 3 separate environmental documents. Phase 1, again, is the highest ranking in our minds. It does have a hefty price tag. I've got $775 million on there. That's an inflated cost per out. I think we have it 2033 at this point. In real dollars, today's dollars, we could probably let it for about $400 or $500 million. And currently, in real dollars, Cat 2 and Cat 4, and within TxDOT Connect, we have about $100 million on there. And TPP is allocated about $400 million of what's called statewide development authority, which is SWDA funds. And those are typically precursor funds that, when it gets closer within the step, that would convert to Cat 12, which is Transportation Commission discretionary fund. So that could happen pretty quick. I think we could have this project let for a lot less than $775 million. As far as the schedule, we just got the consultants just got on board. They're starting the schematic phase, and like I said, public meetings we should start seeing pop up around somewhere in 2024. And this scope of a project, there will be heavy coordination also with the county and both of the multiple cities that are involved in this project. Any questions on this, everybody?
Not necessarily on these, but have you seen a map that shows the idea of where the route would go on the east part of Texas?
They're working on that. They're doing a feasibility study. Basically, they're going to pick up where we're leaving off there on the other side of the Rogers, wherever that goes. If you follow 190, it looks like Charlie Brown's T-shirt, where it's just zigzags up and down. I don't think they're going to follow the existing 190. So. But yeah, they're actually working on it right now. It's a statewide study, basically going all the way down to
Is it going to connect with their Baltimore?
I'm not exactly sure. I know Bryan District, they're having a meeting in Cameron on Thursday that I plan to be at, talking about the whole way through their district, which starts at Rogers and goes all the way to Huntsville, I think. So I don't know exactly after that where it goes, but I'm going to be there. I can send you the information if you want, or I can just send you an email after and kind of tell you where they're looking at that end of the county.
I don't know, just because I had people come in August. I don't have any answers like y'all.
I'll follow up with you after. I'll send you the information.
Next slide. it's State Loop 121 from I-14 to I-35. This has been scoring very well within the project call the last few times. It is currently funded. It's approximately $30 million. We have a consultant on board doing the detailed design, less than 30% complete. Right now, we have it out there in 2032, but if this thing does score pretty well on the next project call, and we can fit it within the STIP, we can let it well in advance of 2032. Any questions on this one? Next up is FM 93 317 to Wheat Road. This is upgrading the existing 2-lane roadway to sections where we 3-lane divided and 4-lane divided. Construction, it's an old estimate, 16.8, that needs to get updated, and we'll get that once our consultant gets a better idea of what we're actually looking at. They've just started the schematic. Their contract does include schematic, environmental, and the detailed design to get to the final plans. Again, they're on the same timeline as the I-14 consultant. We just got them under contract, and the public meeting should begin around the same time. Next up, State Loop 363, Lucius McKelvey, industrial overpasses and main lanes. This is going to construct those overpasses at the intersections, complete the main lane sections. This is the roadway we talked about a while ago that actually we didn't talk about this. We talked about this one last month. We were going to upgrade this to functional classification of freeway and expressway, but there's a small gap before it hits I-35 where it does not function in that classification, and FHWA does not like gaps, so this one's going to have to remain a principal arterial until we get a direct connector complete 363 across I-35. Construction estimates $90 million. Designs complete. This was selected for an accelerated letting, so we will be letting it in February. Questions? And the last one, this is the US 190 Coppers Cove relief route. So you know, we're going to do 2 more lanes, make it a freeway section, upgrade the functional classification. Latest estimate's $115 million. We're 95% designed. What happened last week, we finally got our IAJR approved. And I don't know what that is. It's an Interstate Access Justification Report. Since we are touching bits of I-14 and messing with some ramps, we have to do it's basically a highway capacity report that goes through FHWA. It's a long process. We finally got it approved. So now that's approved, we can get our environmental approved. At that point, it should be a really good thing to get moved up, whether that's going to be around summer of 2024 or fall of 2024, I think is probably. So that should be coming on the horizon fairly quick. And that's all I had. And like I said, Michael should be here next month to talk about the projects that are under construction. So, any questions?
The at-grade crossing of 439, is that you guys or is that the industry? If you can pass on my gratitude. Yeah.
Thank you, Victor. Any other questions for Victor? All right, seeing none, we will move to agenda item 11, which is a discussion item regarding public input received through October 2023. Okay.
We do have a couple of new comments. One of them was just informing the citizen about KTMPO, and then the other one was in Parker Heights around on the roadside. I don't know if that's a street or a neighborhood, but there's no sidewalks and they would like sidewalks there. That's all.
Any questions for James? All right.
Actually, I have one more thing on public comments. Last year, when we were working with Killeen-Temple on the data dashboards, we also were talking with them about improved system for collecting comments online. They said they helped us work on a Microsoft form that's currently live on our website now. So if you go to, I don't know if we changed the name, but the public comment page on our website, it's a form. Also has a link to that if you don't want to do the embedded, but if you have comments or know people have comments, please direct them there so we can get those and share them better.
All right. Agenda item 12, member comments. Are there any member comments? No member comments. All right, agenda item 13, we are adjourned at 10 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.